In this video, we will cover creating 3 embroidery price lists. In one example, you will see how to create a flat rate price list. The second will be using a quantity discount with a per thousand rate. And finally, a price list with quantity and stitch count breaks. Knowing how to do these 3 types of embroidery price lists will then allow you to create many different types of embroidery price lists. For example, you may want a monogram price list, or a specific location price list, or perhaps even an outsourced contract price list. To begin, let's head to the main menu, Settings, Price Lists. The first thing I want to do is filter by the embroidery price list. I'm going to click on the filter option, and where it says imprint type, I'll click the drop down and click on embroidery. Then I'll hit apply. Now I can only see embroidery price lists. I'm going to select the first price list and show you all the things that you can edit. Click on the action button and hit the edit button. Here we can put the price list on hold so that it does not appear in the options in the order screen. The first line defines the sales category, and this is important if you're using QuickBooks to integrate with. The next field, as you can see, is locked in, and this is the service type. Next, we have the short abbreviated name of the price list. Then we have the description of the price list. The next field is the amount of colors. Then the default stitch count. I've entered 7,500 here since the average corporate logo is approximately 7,000 to 8,000 stitches. And finally, you must select the type of price list you want. Basic is the first price list, and this is for a flat rate price list. This would be for a monogram, for example, or a minimum charge price list. The next is based on stitch count. This would be a flat rate based on a specific amount of stitches, but anything above that amount of stitches would be at a per thousand rate. And then finally, we have the stitch count breaks. This is one you can set up quantity as well as stitch count breaks. On the General tab is the option to outsource the price list. Make sure that you have first created the outsourced vendor in the main menu under Suppliers so that you can then select them in the drop-down. I can see that this price list is set up that it's based on stitch count and quantity. Let's go into the action button and click on Edit Cost. As you can see, there are several rows here. This would be the price if the customer was purchasing less than 12 pieces. And then this would be the price if it was 12 pieces to 23 pieces, etc., etc. I want to add an additional row. I want to add a 1,500 and up option. So let's go ahead and click on the minimum quantity. Let's type in 1,500. We'll put the amount as $5, just like on the other rows. And same thing as the other rows, we want a 7,500 stitch count to be included in that $5. And then the rate is going to be 0.25 if it goes above the stitch count of 7,500. Let's go ahead and add the row. If we scroll down, we can now see the new row that we just added. Go ahead and hit save. Because we edited the cost, let's go ahead and edit the retail option the same way. So let's click on Edit Retail. Well, you can see that we have no 1,500 rows, so let's go ahead and click on 1,500. The amount this time is for retail, so it's $7. And then same included stitch count of 7,500, and we want the rate to be 50 cents. And then go ahead and click on Add Row, and then save. The badges that you see below the price list are the additional charges that are linked with that specific price list. As you can see, we've got a digitizing additional charge on the left chest embroidery, and then we've got an artwork and digitizing on the embroidery on caps. Now, the artwork is in gray, which means it will not add by default. Anything in green automatically comes in with the price list. To edit an additional charge, you can click on the pencil icon, and you can either put this on hold, you can add it by default, and I'm going to go ahead and check on that. And then on the price, notice I didn't enter a price before. I can go ahead and enter that price, the cost, and then the retail. And then I have the option to link the quantity or link it to the imprint count, to the product count, to the number of colors, or the stitch count. In this case, it's just a flat fee, so I don't want to link it. Go ahead and hit save. There are two ways you can add an additional charge. You can either click on the action button on the price list and click on add new additional charge, or you can go to the additional charges and click on add additional charge. We're going to do an additional charge for a hard to hoop fee. I'm going to select embroidery as the sales category. I'm going to give the abbreviation of HTH and then call it a hard to hoop fee. And go ahead and hit save. Now we can select which price list we want to link it with. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the caps and the left chest. Go ahead and click on whether you want them to add by default. Say what the cost would be. And then what the retail price would be. And then decide if you want to link it. In this case, I'm going to link it to the imprint count, or to the product count, or to the number of colors, or the stitch count. In this case, I'll link it to the product count. And go ahead and hit save. Cancel to head back to the price list. And here's our hard to hoop fee on both these price lists. If you click on additional charges and the view additional charges, you can see all the additional charges and the quantity of matrices that it's linked to. Click on the action button to edit any of the linked matrices. Here are the steps to creating a new monogram price list and linking a new additional charge to that price list. Now we'll create a price list using quantity breaks and stitch count breaks. Then I'll add an existing additional charge to it. There are so many ways you can make your price list do what you want them to do. For example, you may want a price list that is a reorder embroidery price list where you don't have the digitizing charge come in at all. You may want to create a separate price list for a different area size, such as a left chest, or even just one called second location. You can create unlimited price lists in Teesom. Please let us know if you need further explanation on any of the topics covered here.